Hey there, and welcome to my channel, Living in Calgary, Alberta. My name is Dean Martin. I'm a local real estate agent here in Calgary. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 7 things you need to know before moving to Calgary. These things are going to help you decide if this is the right city for you and your family. There's obviously some nuances for every city, and so these are the top 7 things that I feel that you should understand before you move to Calgary. Before I get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please feel free to subscribe and of course hit that bell. That way you get updated on my very next video. So the first thing I want to go over is the size of Calgary. Calgary is actually a very large city, I guess, for Canada. We have approximately 1.2 million people living here, but we have a thing called urban sprawl. So Calgary is actually spread out quite wide. We have a downtown core, but we have a lot of suburban area, and that continues to grow. So transportation is one of the things that you may want to consider for Calgary. If you do need to get around quite a bit, it is a good idea to have a car. We do have a light rail transit system that runs north to south and east to west. That's actually continually growing. And right now it does service quite a bit of the city, does a good job, but compared to other major cities in Canada, we are a little bit further behind. It's also called the C train. We also have a bus route system that goes throughout all the communities. We also have another system that's a rapid transit system called MAX. And that's another one that you may want to take a look at to help get to different destinations a little bit quicker. Another thing that's kind of unique to Calgary is that we have a bike lane system downtown Calgary. And so there's motorized and unmotorized lanes. So if you like to ride your bike, you're going to really like that system for Calgary. We actually have these motorized scooters in Calgary that's fairly new the last few years. You can actually rent those, so they have a shared scooter program. And it seems like there's a lot more and more people actually getting their own personal scooters. So getting around downtown is pretty easy. We also have it's called a plus 15 system. Why they call it a plus 15 is it's actually walkways that are 15 feet off the street. There's actually 18 kilometers of walkway systems, and that way you can walk from building to building without going outside. So really cool idea. It just allows people that are in downtown core all the time to get around without going outside. So overall, Calgary does have a good transit system. It is growing and is getting better. But if you do need to get around quite a bit, it would be better to have a car, especially if you are not living downtown. So number 2, there's no provincial sales tax or land transfer tax here in Alberta. This is actually going to save you tens of thousands of dollars. When you purchase a home in Toronto or Vancouver, for instance, it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars for purchasing a home over and above the purchase price of the property. Also in Alberta, there's no provincial sales tax, and this is going to save you quite a bit of money on your everyday goods and services. So overall, that's a really good positive thing by living here in Calgary. So number 3, there's no fees for your basic health care. So this is going to include your doctor visits, any hospital stays, any time that you need medical tests. So all that's included just by being a resident here in Calgary and in Alberta. And so if you do need to have like dental and eye and all that kind of stuff, you're going to need to have a plan that either provided by your work, or you're going to have to get something outside of that, which will be private, or Alberta, which is Blue Cross. So you can check in and find what those costs are. But overall, just your basic coverage is all covered here in Alberta. So the 4th thing that you need to know about living in Calgary is our winters can get a little bit crazy. So first thing is, a positive thing is we have these things called Chinooks. And what that is the warm air from the west coming over the mountains. It will actually warm up. When the air comes over, it warms up the air, and then of course comes into the city and warms up our city. So really in a 24-hour or even just in a few hours, we can see up to a 30 degree change in our temperature. So You can go to work in the morning and it's absolutely freezing cold. And by the time you come home from after work, you're going to have your coat off and it could be like plus 10 degrees. So it is a good thing for Calgary as far as just breaking up that cold winter. Some of the challenges though with that is like for instance my wife, she'll get a headache from the barometric change in pressure from that change of weather. And so of course she suffers from a headache on those days. So there's the pluses and the minuses of that, but overall Calgary's winter, it will start is usually about mid to late October. We're going to get our first snows. They do come earlier than that, but that's kind of normal, is the end of October. We're going to see snow and cold weather. Our average temperature is probably more like -5. It'll get cold to -10. And then we'll get really cold snaps every once in a while. They can go down to -40 Celsius. But that'll kind of carry on up until April. And then we're going to get into a lot nicer weather. By May, we're going into spring weather at that time. So overall, it is kind of a long winter here. You do need to be prepared for cold weather. And so if you're not used to that, you definitely is something that you're going to have to get used to by living in Calgary here. The fifth thing that you need to know about Calgary is our public education system is really great, but the other thing is it's very overcrowded. So depending on what community you live in, you're going to find that the schools are quite crowded and your children may need to go to another community or to another school that requires them to be bused. So this is something that you need to inquire about before you move here. So let's say you're thinking about going up to a particular community up in the northwest Calgary or southeast Calgary. You want to know which communities and how much travel time is for your children. It's best to, you can call me directly or inquire from me. I can help you with that. As a realtor, obviously, I'll have some knowledge about that. If it's a school I'm not familiar with, I can help research that for you, and that way you know exactly depending on which division your child is in, if it's elementary or high school or whatever, I'll be able to help you out with that. But just know that there is an overcrowding situation here in Calgary, and not all communities are the same. Even the newest communities, of course, don't even have schools. So for the first few years, a lot of those communities, your child will need to be bused. The sixth thing that you need to know about Calgary is we get a lot of hailstorms in spring and summer. Our thunderstorms produce very large hail and can cause a lot of damage to property and cars. We'll see hail actually pretty much every year that will be the size of golf balls or even larger. And of course, that's going to create a lot of damage. So there's certain parts of Calgary that get more of it than others. And so that's another thing that you can contact me about, or leave a question down below. If there's a particular community that you're thinking about, I can let you know a little bit about the history of the hail in that particular community. But just know that because of our mountains and our foothills, just the way the weather system works here, we do get a lot of yearly hail. And number 7, something that's really fantastic about living in Calgary is we're just about an hour away from the Rocky Mountains. This is one of the most spectacular things about Canada and Alberta is our Rocky Mountains. And this is our back door. And so if you like the outdoors, you like to hike or ski, fish, go canoeing, all that kind of stuff, you'd like wildlife, this is just our backyard here. And I know personally that we go camping quite often. We go pretty much every month. We end up in Banff, or we're going to go to Canmore. Just a wonderful place to take the family. And again, there's some wonderful things. There's a hot springs. If we actually have the Banff Springs Hotel. This is like the castle in the mountains. So it's just a great place to go, and certainly a great thing about living in Calgary. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. If you want to learn more about living in Calgary, feel free to reach out. Please comment below if you have a specific question. I read all the comments and I will reply to them. And if you are thinking about moving to Calgary and just want to have a private call just about homes and schools, transportation, work, anything to do with that, I'd love to be able to help. Just reach out. All my contact information is below in the description, and I'd love to chat with you. And once again, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, hit that bell, and if you like this video, I'd love if you give me a like as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day.